All right, here we are. Happy Monday, everybody. This is Zach and Monique. We are here at our weekly energetic alignment and mindset series, helping everyone out. All right.
We are.
This is going to be a fun one. Every week, just get yourself a little more tuned in to, that happiness of the world, everything around us that's wonderful. Everything that is also holding us back, right? That you might notice what is happening in our life. How come we're not getting what we want out of it, what we're trying to achieve, but perhaps we're going about it the wrong way anyway. So yeah, we're here to talk about all that fun stuff about our mind, about the energy that we're putting out into the world, and about everything that we're trying to do, which is making people very successful, right? Monique is trying to make you all connected, hooking it up to her social media now as well. Yes. So just so everyone knows, you can just comment wherever you guys are watching us right now, whether it is YouTube or on Facebook or LinkedIn. Just drop some comments in, say hey. We'd love to have you because we're all about answering other people's questions too at the end of the day, which is tons of fun.
Yeah.
Love it. So yeah, this has been a long series now, and we're just going to keep going, continuing it until we decide to stop. Happy Monday, Ariana. Absolutely. Yeah. Heck yeah. Oh my gosh. Tons of fun stuff. We've gone through lots of different things in our time here, right? Limiting beliefs, different things that people have holding them back in life, but also knowing that they want to get here. How do they get there? And then once they figure out that they have some of these limiting beliefs or whatever they might be in their mind that's blocking them, that's making them show up in a way that isn't really in alignment with that future self that they're leaning into. And you end up stopping yourself. Stop blocking yourself, if you will.
End up blocking yourself. And the thing is that a lot of the time, limiting beliefs, we try to get over them by outthinking them, but the energy of them lives in the body. And this is something that is very much overlooked in today's society of mindset. And mindset is important, but it's very important to understand that the energy of a belief, the energy of a thought that randomly pops into our head, or a belief that we just can't stop thinking, the energy of that belief is being presented as a thought. However, energy is stored in the body. And so the energy lives in the body. So we have to use the body to get rid of them. And this can be as simple as you're having a rough time and you go outside and you go for a walk. I'm pretty sure anybody who's watching this, whenever you feel stressed, getting outside and going for a walk, it doesn't make you feel worse. Most of the time, it helps you feel better, or it at least brings you to a state of feeling calm and grounded and neutral, so you can come back and approach whatever it is that was stressing you out in the first place from that clear mind, right? And yeah, Angel, limiting beliefs are a lot of people's Achilles heel because they can derail us, because we already have a negativity bias. Our brain is already prone to look for the negative in our environment because it is a survival organ. And if we know what is going wrong in our environment, then we can keep ourselves safe. So our brain already has that negativity bias. And then as we learn things about ourselves that are not true, that we either learn from hearing our parents talk about how the world works, seeing our teachers communicate about how the world works, or what our place is in the world. Like, I know teachers will unknowingly label kids as, oh, that's the smart kid, or that's the kid that jacks off a lot, or that's the kid that never pays attention. So then we develop these identities And then we start to fulfill them based off of what someone is telling us about ourselves.
We hear those labels and we think that's who we are
Yeah.
now. We're defining ourselves by
Yeah.
someone else's labels.
Yeah.
That happens so much in society, right?
your
And then you
parents
just fulfill that.
Yeah, your parents unknowingly
Yeah.
say like, "Oh, you're
We
such
all
a
do that.
go-getter," or "You're so smart," or "You're so pretty," or "You're so stubborn," or "You never listen." And for better or for worse, a lot of the beliefs that we have about ourselves, they're not even ours. They are
Mhm.
just beliefs that we've adopted from other people's very strong and or reoccurrent opinion of us and or our place in the world or how the world works. But like I said, our brain has that negativity bias. So if we can think thoughts that don't make us feel good, our brain thinks it's protecting us from moving forward in life into something that we might fail at, or we might not be great at, or we might get embarrassed at, or we might get rejected from. Therefore, our brain thinks it's keeping us safe. Therefore, our brain thinks it's keeping us alive by thinking these thoughts.
So the brain's happy.
Yeah, because that's all the brain cares about is
Yeah.
keeping you alive. And it doesn't care if you're thriving. It doesn't care if you're happy. It doesn't care if you're miserable. It doesn't care if you eat Oreos by yourself watching reruns of Love is Blind on Netflix every
Sucks because I
night.
eat all those Oreos.
It doesn't care. It only cares that you're there doing it, right? And a lot of the times what can happen is we get so caught up in those beliefs, we really start to think, well, this is just the way it is, or this is how life goes, or this is the type of person that I am. And the only way to get out of that is to, one, recognize that we have those beliefs.
Self-awareness.
Yes. So we all know that a limiting belief, and if you don't, now you do. A limiting belief is simply a belief that you think about yourself or the way the world works or your place in the world, and it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good.
That's all it is.
That's all it is.
So just think about any of those things that you think about yourself. You think that I can't do this, or, you know, I can do this, but not this thing over here because that's not me,
Mhm.
right? Even though you might want to do something over there, you're just like, that doesn't, that hurts. So it's like,
Mhm.
that's someday, maybe, you know, eventually. The
Mhm.
overthinker in me would be like, okay, if I get all my right gear, like in a game on a computer, Nintendo or something, if I collect all the right things to go and battle this guy at the end, then I'll be ready to go and take that thing on, right? And it doesn't matter how long it takes me to get all these things. In my mind, I feel like I'm not going to be ready until I have all these things around me. And that just stops you right from the beginning, because some people will be like, wow, okay, I finally realized all these things that I need. That's a lot. That's going to take me forever. I'm not going to be able to get there because I have to go and get all those things.
Mhm.
That's not going to work. And so you don't have to. You can shortcut that whole thing in your mind. And that's some of the fun stuff that we've been talking about through the years. It's felt like on here. But it's just, it feels like we're growing at a rate that's so fast that just kind of falls out. Is that it's been a fun thing that we're doing. And I feel like my own self-awareness in this last year has felt like years,
Mhm.
because it has been such
You really have
a
grown a
steep
lot.
incline
last
within that. And even just the more that I'm aware of that and talking
Mhm.
about it to so many people. And even when I was presenting at my local real estate association this past
Mhm.
Wednesday, what they wanted me to come in and talk about all the ways you can find properties. So I'm like, okay, over 100 ways to find properties. I've put these lists and things together, but how am I going to show up? What are the people that are going to be there? How am I going to show up and get them from wherever they are in life to
Mhm.
where I want them to be, which is much more successful at finding properties, much more successful at real estate, much more successful in their relationships with everyone. And my first thought was that we have to talk about mindset. We have to talk and ask these questions. What do they
Mhm.
think? And some of those questions I would ask is, do you think it's easy to find deals right now? And after a bunch of different questions, it was only about, I'd say 15% of the room that thought that it was easy to find deals right now. And so the thing that I learned the most from running is whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.
Mhm.
And that's exactly it. And so it's, guess what? They have their own self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
That 85% of the room,
Mhm.
gosh darn it, for them, it's hard to find deals.
And that's what limiting beliefs do, is they contain us in this space where we begin to live them out to prove to ourselves, see, this is true.
Mhm.
This is right. I was right about this. I knew this was going to happen. I expected this.
You've all had that friend,
Yeah.
right? You've had that friend,
We've
and
all
maybe
been
you've
that
tried
person.
to. Well, yeah, we've been that person for sure. Okay, that's true. Fair. We've been
Something-
that person. We've evolved past that.
You want to
Hopefully,
believe something good, but then ultimately there's a piece of you that doesn't, and that piece of you is really strong. Even though you're trying to outthink that piece of you, you're not actually moving the energy out of your body, so it's still circulating in your body. So then when that bad thing or that negative experience happens, you're like, I kind of knew this was going to happen anyways. I expected it, right? And we think that we're setting ourselves up for not being disappointed, when in reality you're still disappointed that it happened.
super disappointed.
You're just more prepared for it because you actually believed that was more likely to happen than what you truly wanted.
Guys, we want to change this type of thinking.
Yes, we have to change this type of thinking.
If you want to
because
be successful,
you'll never be successful with that type of thinking. You'll always find a way to hold yourself back. We are our own self-fulfilling prophecy.
yeah. So we're going to get you past some of that. That's
Yes.
that's really our whole goal, and always coming to you guys is talking to you live, bringing these problems to the forefront, reiterating all these same things, because if we can be that voice that's different than your own voice in your head,
Yeah.
at least you're hearing us once a week, at least
Over and over and over.
over and over. At least you're starting out your week with happiness, and you can push it through to the rest of the week, right? Or maybe you had a bad Monday. Let's turn that around right now.
Yeah.
We're now going to have a great Monday. For the rest of your day, wherever you're watching, the rest of your Monday is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay? You have the power to decide.
Yes.
That's the fun thing about it.
Yeah.
You have all that
we're
power.
giving you little snippets of what we're actually going to go into in a few minutes. You've said a couple of things.
Yeah.
But you just look so handsome right now with your fresh
Oh,
haircut.
that's so
I
sweet.
cut his hair too.
Her many talents is that she can cut hair. I know.
I used to be
I
a
feel
cosmetologist.
a little sad anytime my hair goes from this high to down here. I feel like I lose
I
a
kept it
part
long,
of me.
though.
Yeah, for you, it was sure to you. Yeah, that's fine.
It's
That's
still
fine.
long. If you like Zach's hair, show him some love. Maybe he'll feel
Oh,
better.
that's sweet.
I think
Maybe
he looks so handsome.
I take.
Yeah. Are you blushing?
Okay.
okay.
It's a sunburn.
I blush too. I know I'm a little
Or
sunburned
a
too.
little sunburn.
Yeah. So okay. Anyway, sorry, off topic. I was getting a little
Yeah.
I'm just in love with you. Yeah. Yeah. So we get caught up by trying to outthink these limiting beliefs. We have to move the energy. You guys are too cute. Thank you. We have to move the energy from our bodies, and then the belief will release. And there are so many ways to do this. Like there are really like an unlimited amount of ways to do this because we're all unique. But some common ways that I work with my clients, and if something resonates with you, please comment and we can go deeper into these. But the 3 ways that we move energy, I know I've said this, but I'll say it 100 times. Movement, sound, and breath. And so we can use those in combination with each other. We can just do them on their own. But there, within those 3 ways, there are unlimited ways that we can use them to move energy. We all feel better after we go on a walk. That's movement. We all feel better after we spend a night dancing the night away. That's movement.
Mm-hmm.
We all feel better when we talk to a friend
Mhm.
when we're having a rough day. That's sound. We feel better when we just scream at the top of our lungs, like, what the fuck? Or we just yell in our car because we don't even have words to express what we're feeling. That's sound. We feel better when we're frustrated. We might go, that's breath. So we do these things unknowingly, but when we can do them intentionally, we can actually facilitate the release of the energy of the limiting belief. And then that limiting belief, eventually the neural connection that's keeping it strong will eventually wither away. And there are other techniques that you can use that kind of go into little nuances around this. But ultimately, when you're thinking a thought that doesn't feel good, we need to introduce a pattern disrupt. So your mind is really, really, really used to thinking that thought. Think of it as, okay, whenever you watch this, if you're live with us now, yay. But if you're watching the replay, just take a second.
Yay, people that are live with us.
We do love when you guys are live.
We do, guys.
So take a second and just think back to when I say what's just like a debilitating limiting belief right now, or what's a limiting belief that's really holding you back right now. Or maybe it's not necessarily holding you back as much as it's preventing you from moving forward, which is just another way of saying that.
So like, I'm not good enough.
Yeah, I'm not good enough for this. I'm too scared to do this. This will fail if I try to do this. Or it could be something like, I'm fat. I'm never going to have the body that I want. I don't know how to talk to the people that I want to talk to. My prices are too much. I'm not charging enough. Any thought that pops up.
Mm-hmm.
And then think back. How long do you remember thinking this thought? Like, I know I'm not good enough is a big one. And it can be years.
Yeah. Wow. Some of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Years.
That's hard to even think about. And that's, I don't want to think about how long.
Yeah. So now the first time that you thought that thought, it planted a root in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
And every other time that you've thought that thought since, that root has grown and grown and grown into a big neuron tree. Yeah. And this tree is probably a redwood by now, if it's a thought that you've thought
big,
for a while.
Tall, solidified.
Yes.
You can't run and knock that thing down.
Yeah. Like it's going to take, if you try to chop it down with an axe, you're going to be there probably for a couple days trying to do it.
I don't know about me. I'm a pretty good axe man.
Okay, honey.
All right. Calm
down. So now think of the thought that you want to be true. What do you want to believe? How do you want your life to look? Now think of how strong does that thought feel in your mind compared to that limiting belief. It feels really good when you think it, but how often can you think it before that limiting belief pops back in?
Yeah, not long, huh?
Yeah.
And it's like a fleeting
it is.
thought.
It's like a fleeting thought, a fleeting feeling of, gosh, that would be nice if it were true, right?
Even some things that I more so believe that I feel like I wouldn't, like I'm thinking to myself with things, and then it's just all of a sudden, real quickly, limiting beliefs are fast to pop in there. Like you got to knock those things away like flies. Knock them down, squish them.
Yeah.
Electric fly swatters.
It's
something.
like you are.
Holy smokes.
Like fruit juice that's been sitting out, and your limiting beliefs are flies that are just flying around it.
There you go.
And so now when you think that positive thought, it does plant a root. However, whenever you think the limiting belief that's been there for years and years and years and years, and you just became aware of the limiting belief maybe a year or two ago and you're trying to work through it, but you still find yourself dwelling on that limiting belief, and that positive thought is more like a fleeting in and out quick experience, it's probably like a little dainty flower. Okay, so it's just not as strong yet. However, that little dainty flower or twig can grow into a redwood because the limiting belief was once the same thing.
True.
And every time we introduce a pattern disrupt, which is simply changing your state. So if you're thinking that limiting belief, start snapping your fingers. Or you're thinking that limiting belief,
go
get
down
up and leave the room.
Do some push-ups.
You love to do push-ups.
Yeah, do some push-ups. Do something active. Do something like, I caught you, right?
Yes.
Your mind will start to catch it. Once you're aware of it, you'll start to catch it. And then once you're aware, you catch it, then you can do something with it, right? You catch that fly, then you can put it outside, kill it, do whatever you want with it, but it's yours to do something with at that point.
Yeah. And so when you think of that limiting belief and then you immediately remember like, oh crap, I gotta disrupt this. Do something different. It doesn't matter what it is. Just have it involve some type of sound, some type of movement, or some type of breath. Okay. Because now what we're doing is we're starting to interrupt that neural connection. So we're interrupting. It's like instead of pouring Miracle-Gro on the limiting belief, we're pouring, we're pouring vinegar and salt, right? And so that's like the natural weed killer, because I don't like to use Roundup. So we're pouring like vinegar, but like the most intense vinegar and salt that you can think of. Okay. And after you do that over and over and over again on the roots, it's going to start to kill that big redwood that has planted itself in your mind. Okay. And once you do that, then you've moved and you've gotten your mind off of that. And your mind starts to kind of get confused, like, well, wait a second, I thought this was a really important belief. And now all of a sudden I'm dancing to Taylor Swift, or I'm singing the alphabet, or I'm thinking of a hippopotamus in a tutu. Like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
And our mind starts to get confused.
That's good in those moments, right? That's real good.
Very good. And it's something so simple that we're just not really taught to use, because we think it's like, oh, that's it. That's kind of silly. I mean, I don't have to totally suffer to get rid of my beliefs. No, you don't. You can. There are ways that you can suffer to get rid of your beliefs and cry your eyes out. I'm really good at them. But you don't have to do that. You can trick your mind through a pattern disrupt. And then once you're like, what was I even thinking about just now? Or you're kind of at a neutral state where you're like, oh, I feel a little bit lighter. Then we introduce that new belief. And when we introduce that new belief, we're already in an elevated state from thinking of something funny, or from dancing or moving, or from speaking something or singing the alphabet, or just something silly. Then we're already in that elevated state. So it's a lot easier for our mind to accept this new belief as truth. Let me know if this is making sense to you guys. And then we do that over and over and over again, and we start to whittle away that redwood. We're pouring vinegar and salt as we are chopping down the tree. So not only are we chopping it down, but we're not giving it a chance to grow back. And instead, we're pouring Miracle-Gro on the new belief.
Heck yeah.
Because we're already in the elevated state when we're thinking it.
Because we've already talked about, we don't want to introduce any type of affirmations, anything like that when we're in that negative state.
When you're feeling like crap.
When you're feeling like crap, you're basically putting like weird type of stuff on top of that thing that's already growing
You're
there.
basically pouring like cement on top of your new belief.
That's fair.
When you're feeling like crap, you might think it's Miracle-Gro, but it's liquid cement. It just hasn't formed yet. And then you're like, what the heck? Why do I still feel like crap? Because you're trying to out energy yourself with your thoughts. And energy, how you feel when you think, that's an emotion. You can't use logic to out emotion yourself. And that's what we try to do when we try to outthink our thoughts. Can you go to the comments?
Yeah.
And so, okay, just wanted to check them. And so, when we then do that, when we're thinking these thoughts, these more positive thoughts, if you find yourself like having a really hard time with a pattern disrupt or getting out of your head, or you're just like finding yourself constantly in a negative state where you're just like, another day of this, another day of this. Okay. That's okay too. Don't beat yourself up. Instead, I'm going to give you a permission slip to let yourself stay there. And okay. And this is so important because just like we said, we don't want to try to like out positive ourselves when we're not truly in a positive state.
Right.
We don't just want, that's like, when someone doesn't want to be somewhere and you're like, oh, come on, put a smile on your face. And they're like,
yeah. You know how much they hate that. And then they're just through their teeth, and
we've all been there.
Everything's worse.
Yeah, we
Nothing
all
is
really
better.
dislike when people tell us, put a smile. I was in the service industry for about 8 years. One of my biggest pet peeves was when male customers would be like, oh, put a smile on your face. And I'm just like, oh, you mother. And so like imagine someone telling you that every single time you thought a negative belief or you were in a bad mood. Oh, everything's fine. Put a smile on your face. Put a smile on your face. That's essentially what you're telling yourself when you are trying to hurry up and get into a positive mood, right? Let me know if that makes sense. So instead of that, let yourself be in that less than ideal state and still know that you can feel the way you want to feel. It's okay that I'm feeling this way. Give yourself permission to feel that way. It's okay that I'm feeling this way. Because when we make a feeling bad, that's when we try to suppress it. And that's when more limiting beliefs are created. That's when more fuel to the limiting belief fire is created. So instead, let yourself feel that way. It's okay that I'm feeling this emotion. And then I like to name the emotion. It's okay that I'm feeling sad right now. It's okay that I'm feeling frustrated right now. It's okay that I'm feeling angry right now. Because I know that I can still believe that things are working out in my favor. I know that it's safe for me to expect the best. I know that the best is yet to come. So you give yourself that permission, and still you know that what you want is not dependent on you being in a super high vibe state. So it takes the pressure off.
It's acknowledging those real feelings and emotions that you have. And this is a real good lesson for couples and anyone out there who is in some type of relationship or at all, acknowledging your partner when they have those types of emotions to begin with. And don't try and say, put on a happy face. Don't try and say, trying to turn you around. So it's like, no, I acknowledge your emotions that you have. They're all fair. They're valid emotions right now. That's okay.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that in the next state that we're in the future, that you have to bring those emotions with you.
Yes.
We can go to a different state over here, right? But where you are right now is perfectly valid. I'm not going to tell you that you shouldn't be there, that you can't be there, or that you're not really feeling that. Right? Because then everything in you is just saying, well, yes, I'm feeling this, and you're huge on the defense.
And then you fight for that feeling.
Right. And so basically you're having that conversation with yourself.
Yes.
In those moments. You're having that conversation with your own mind, with your brain, with everything that's in there. Right.
Yeah. And that's something too. Stay there and feel emotions. Use your energy to let it go. Yes. Then redesign your mind with focus and use mental fitness. Yes, absolutely. And this is mental fitness. You would not walk into the gym and expect to lift an 80-pound dumbbell your first day there.
Right.
You would not expect to think a positive thought and then never think that negative thought again and only think positive thoughts from here on out. It is a fitness journey for your mind, but just know how energy works in the body. We have to use the body to release it. And we can do that through pattern disrupts with movement, with sound, and with breath. But give yourself permission to experience what it is wanting to experience. And also know it's not an or. It's not this or this. It can be this. And I still know that all of these things are available to me, that it's possible for me to trust the process, that my success is inevitable, that my body wants the same things that I do, that I'm on this fitness journey. I get leaner and leaner every day, that my health is improving with every step that I take, that my partner is closing in on me and I'm going to meet them at the perfect time, whatever it is. So we can give ourselves some slack, take the pressure off, and allow that to come in.
Yeah. Take that pressure off. Know that wherever you are right now doesn't dictate where you are in a little bit from now, doesn't dictate where you are tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know?
There's going to be tough times. Like I had a really tough time yesterday on our run, and we're going to go into a little story, but yeah. So I'm training for my first half marathon. Zach is training me because he loves running. And so I am almost 19 weeks pregnant, and I've never run distance before. The longest I've ever run is 9 miles once. It was on accident. A tree fell on the route that my sister and I were running. It was only supposed to be a 6-mile run. And so I had to run the 9 miles with her, and it was awful. It was not a great experience for me, but I did it. And so yesterday we ran 11 miles, and we have to plan our runs. So we're always by a bathroom because I have to pee so often.
Pregnant
when we run.
Equals pee a lot.
Oh my gosh, so much.
Guys,
I'm
you would have no clue,
really
right?
Low.
Girls, you might not know either. She didn't know.
I didn't realize. And I'm carrying really low. And so when I walk, I feel fine. But as soon as I start running with a little bit of a hop and some pressure on my bladder, I have to pee almost immediately. And so we were mapping our run yesterday to run by the only bathroom on this trail. And it was so hot. Oh my gosh, was it so hot yesterday when we ran? It was like 75 degrees and sunny, but it was so humid because there was rain coming later in the day. And I was already thinking like, wow, my body feels so tired today. My mind felt very mentally tired. So this is also like when you're in a space where you're just mentally tired, like give yourself a break, because I didn't give myself a break. And so we started running, and half mile in, already had to pee, but I had to suck it up for another like 3/4 of a mile before we got to the bathroom. Eventually we made it, got to the bathroom, good to go. Another half mile in, I had to pee again, but we had at least another 1.5 miles before we were going to come back to the bathroom again. So then before we even made it back to the bathroom by mile like 3.5, we weren't even 3 miles in on our 11-mile run, I started crying.
Yep. So, I thought we were good. A week ago, she ran her longest 10 miles. This one, I'm like, okay, 11. Last week, we just had to do a little bit of surgery from some stuff, but this one really tested her. And there would have been so many people that would have given up in their mind if they didn't have a strong mental dexterity at that point, all the things that she knows, the lessons that she knows, but the awareness that she has.
I did want to give up though.
Oh,
but
yeah.
This is the first thing, is that like you have to decide what you want and go after it. And this is where our limiting beliefs will kick in. So before we even ran the 11 miles, I made a decision that I was going to finish this 11 miles. I knew there was going to be a chance we were going to have to walk. I've never run 11 miles before. He's very supportive of how slow I need to go if I need to walk as well. Yeah. And so this is the thing though. All of these limiting beliefs were popping into my head before we even ran. My twin sister even texted me, and she was like, are you okay? I'm feeling like you're really nervous for your run. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, I'm nervous. There's some things that I don't really know what to expect. Like it's so hot outside and my body's a little tired, blah, 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 whatever. But I made a decision. And when you decide, your energy starts to shift towards the identity of you on the other side of that decision. But there is still energy of you on the side prior to the decision making. So right now, this is when your limiting beliefs become really loud. You've made a decision that you're going to change something, okay? This is where you've been very, very comfortable for however long up until now. For me, it's been my whole life up until now. I've never ran 11 miles before. But now I decided I'm running 11 miles today. I'm doing 11 miles today.
Yeah.
We already decided the time we were going to do it, even though it was so hot and so humid, but we had decided, and we're like, well, we're not changing this. We are doing it. And so my mind was already giving me so much just chaos during the beginning of this run. And so when I saw that we weren't even at 3 miles yet, I started crying. And Zach, he just let me cry. And then eventually we made it to the bathroom, and then we ran longer, started crying again.
Spoilers, guys. I think she cried about five times on this whole run. And this was just a good lesson in communication between people, patience.
Yeah.
And so we're just a few wonderful things that we got out of this. We want to end up sharing with you.
Around mile 8 was when I camped out by the bathroom and I started crying because my body was so tired. I was suffering mentally. My mind was just like, you can't do this. It's too hot outside. Go home. I just really wanted to quit. But Zach, he's like, and I told him, I was like, I am struggling so much right now. Like I constantly feel like I have to pee. My bladder is so uncomfortable. My mind is struggling. I'm mentally very tired. I shouldn't have worked out yesterday. And I was just constantly telling him like all these reasons why I wanted to just go home and quit early. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And what'd you tell me, honey?
What did I say? I say probably if you think you can or you can't, you're right.
But I believe that you can.
But I believe that you can. I didn't even say, I think I said, I believe that you can, and quickly said, I know you can.
Yeah.
I know you can, and so it was in those moments. And I firmly believed that she could and that she would. There were some questions about, Like there was no question that at that point, after 3 miles, that I knew she was going to have a terrible run. This whole thing, I knew that in my mind, it was going to be terrible.
It was, and I knew that my mind was going to be my enemy the entire time. And I knew, and like, this is any new endeavor that you're working towards. Your mind is your biggest challenger.
Yeah.
Your mind is your biggest critic.
Always.
Any new endeavor that you're moving towards, especially if it's financial, right? And so I knew my mind was going to give me hell during this run. But the thing is that I had community. I had my Zach, which if you have a partner or if you have a group of friends or if you have a group on social media, you have some type of community, they rely on them to pull you out of it. I did not let myself suffer alone, because he even saw me starting to cry and he's like, I understand you're having a hard time, but just know, I believe you can finish this.
And I was validating her feelings.
Yes.
It's like, I get
he wasn't
it.
pushing me to try to hurry up and get over it.
You know, all of those emotions and things that you're feeling. Yeah. That must be very hard for you.
Yes.
I was not discounting the fact that it was difficult and that she was trying something new. So of course I was just waiting. When on these training runs was she going to hit a wall? What was that wall going to look like? I was just prepared for whatever that is. And when you have a good community around you, number one, you need that good community. Number two, you need a great mentor, a coach, someone. I've already been through these things before, so I could pull her along. I say, make sure that you have these types of things ready for race day, right? That you've got the right energy that you need, that you're well hydrated, that you take care of your bathroom break, that you've got your socks how you need, that you've got the tech shirt that you're wearing, that you make sure that you're not burning in the sun. We've got a little sunburn from all of that. Felt nice. But all of these things I knew were going to happen. And I wasn't going to have her just run an 11-mile run on the first day. And because I knew her specifically, I knew that I needed to take her 1 mile each week, so I could very easily say, all right, look, you just did this. We're just doing 1 more mile this week. As opposed with some runs, there might be just a longer leap, but she really doesn't like running. That means she really loves me. That she's doing all of this, and she's doing it for herself to feel proud, and I'm sure many other things.
And so that's the thing, is like Zach was saying, he's been coaching me through my runs, and it's so important to have someone not only validate your experience, but also to be that calm, grounded energy when you're flying off of the deep end, because it's going to happen. And we can't shame and guilt ourselves for when it happens, because it's inevitable. We're humans. We're having a human experience. And instead of shaming and guilting ourselves for having a rough day, for having repeated limiting beliefs over and over again when I should be over it by now, or for being in that mental battle with yourself, instead of experiencing that, just rely on the people around you, whether that's a mentor or a coach or a partner or a friend. Rely on someone that's been in a similar situation, and they can honor where you're at and also pull you out of it when you're ready to be pulled out of it, or a little bit before, because sometimes we really want to sit in it and really just swim around in it, even though we're swimming in like a pile of poop when we think it's a hot tub, but we don't know it's not a hot tub because it's the only thing we've ever stayed in. So we need our friend or our partner or our mentor to tell us, why are you sitting in a pile of shit? Get into the hot tub. You're not in a hot tub. And we're like, oh, really? Like, you don't know what you don't know. And if it's something that you haven't navigated before, how are you supposed to know what to expect?
Yeah. And I absolutely knew that she was a strong person. She could get over these things, but she was having a very tough moment with the heat. The heat was definitely something she wasn't used to, and it was getting warmer through the run. So that was a little rough. But I knew that she was going to feel better afterwards. So what did I do? I just asked myself, like, how many ways can we get through this together with peace and with ease? And part of it was like, oh, wow, you know what? If your stomach is hurting and you're feeling upset by all that, actually running and the movement is going to make you feel better. So I just told her too, I was like, you also probably realize that you're going to feel better after you're running and doing this. And she was like, yeah. She was like, yeah, I am. So then I just kept asking myself, like, how many ways we can get through this? And so I'm being super positive. I'm encouraging her. When she needed to cry and stop these 5 times, I let her do that. I let her do that. I'm not going to berate her through that. I'm not going to tell her that, you know, she can't feel that way because she's feeling that way. So don't tell me I'm not feeling something. That's never going to work out well. So don't try and bully your own brain. When you're trying to get through something, you don't want to bully your own brain. Give your brain a break. You guys have been in it for however old you are right now. You know, you've been through a lot. We've all been through a lot with ourselves at the end of the day. But yeah, find your joy. Absolutely, Donna. Find your joy in whatever that is. And so after you're done thinking about bullying your brain and you find that patience with all of that, get that pause, do that nice break of state with the movement, the sound, or the breath. Do something. So now you're in at least a neutral. You don't have to be super positive in that moment, but at least you're in a neutral state so that your brain can receive these other wonderful thoughts.
And that's something else too, is if you are just making yourself a human punching bag, then also understand that there will be another side to this. So around 8 miles, when I was literally camped out in front of the bathroom, just crying, like, I don't think I can do this anymore. Like, I'm about to just walk home. Zach was like, yeah, whatever you think you can or you can't, you're going to be right. But I believe that you can. And then he's like, you're going to feel so good after this. So then I started envisioning finishing the run, like being done, being on the other side of this hardship. So whatever the hardship is that you're experiencing right now, there will be a time when it's no longer relevant and you will be on the other side of it. And you get to decide whether you're on the other side a victor or a victim of that hardship. But you have to first going all the way back, you make the decision of what you plan on doing, right? And then you act from that decision. And when you begin to take action from that decision, there are two parts of you that are just battling it out, right? You have the new energy that you're embodying, the energy of what possibly can be, of who you are becoming. And then you have the old energy, the energy of who you've been. But if you are deciding to do something different, then the energy of who you've been is no longer relevant. It's gotten you to this point of that decision. And now it's about planting an entirely new redwood forest. And so as you're planting that redwood forest, yeah, you're going to have to take down some trees in the old one. And that's okay. And that's where that mental battle comes in. And that's the importance of continuing to be self-aware and move that energy out of the body however it wants to move. I cried, I yelled, I sighed a lot, I moved my body, and have that support. Have that support with you. Have that support that they can remind you there is another side to this. You are capable when you don't believe in yourself, but have that support there that can also validate your current experience, giving yourself permission to feel the way that you're experiencing, but not living there. And that support, whatever that support looks like for you, can pull you out of it. And then when you're on the other side of that mental battle, because there will be multiple mental battles after you make a decision and begin acting from it, because you're embodying new energy, then start to visualize yourself on the other side of this hardship, on the other side of whatever the journey is that you're currently on. And as you then continue to take steps in that direction, the more you can see yourself there, the less foreign it feels to your body. And therefore, the easier it is for you to welcome it in as your reality, as your truth. Because one thing that the nervous system hates is uncertainty. One thing that the ego hates is not knowing, is the unknown. So if I can visualize myself finishing this thing how I want to finish it, or even better, then it's no longer an uncertainty and it's no longer the unknown. And instead, it's actually happening because your body doesn't know the difference.
And the funny thing to me is I knew you were going to finish. I knew you were going to do all of that
too, but it was really hard.
No, and that's okay. Honestly, I mean, and I even told you, my gosh, you're running the longest you've ever run. And last week you ran the longest you've ever run. And you've never run pregnant. why would you think that this would be easy?
Yeah.
It's like, so even it was just a reality check and permission. I'm giving you absolute permission to you.
That's what it is, like giving yourself permission for those hiccups.
Yeah.
Because although we want things to go smooth, let's get real. We're humans.
So we think that like if it doesn't go perfectly, then we're not meant out
throw
for
our
it.
hands up and be like, nope,
oh, right.
this is
No.
it.
So
Call
obviously not. So if anything, you look for those signs where it's not going perfectly and you say, okay, at least I'm trying. At least I'm pushing myself and I'm doing something new.
I'm here. I'm doing it. I'm still committing to that decision.
You're committed to it, and no one usually likes to share those moments very much into the world, but let's be more comfortable sharing those moments because that's real.
And that's how we grow. That's how
everyone
we experience
grows.
growth, through sharing these types of experiences with each other, because we all have them.
Yeah.
We all have them. And this one just happened to be through exercise, but we've had plenty through our business. We've had plenty financially. We've had plenty. I've had so many with my body for years with my body until I learned the energetics of the body and healed all of that. And
I'm sure almost everyone, I want to go out on a limb and say almost everyone struggles with their body.
Oh gosh.
I mean, I've struggled with my body image the whole time I've been alive, from a young kid, and even stories behind that, right? But I mean, other people might struggle that they're too skinny, or you've got people at the gym that are so jacked up muscular and everything, they go and look at other people that are more muscular and think, oh, I'm small, right? Holy crap, what do they think of me at the end of the day when I'm not bulging with muscles, right? But who cares? So everyone has these body images at the end of the day. So it's a common theme that everyone needs just a little nudge, a little more love for themselves. But that's just one small aspect. Yeah, there's business. Yeah, there's relationships. Yeah, there's your family trauma and different issues with all of that. So many different aspects, right? So this hardship that we're trying to get through, it can apply to any of these things, and it should apply to all of these things. And just helping to visualize yourself on the other side of that, because that's how you can pull yourself through. Seeing where it can be, you can pull yourself through, and that's your guiding light of, that's the way that I have to go. And what would that person do? How would that person act? I've started to say those things to myself, and it's like, what would I do in this moment? And the future me that is living right now, what would I do in this moment? And what would I want to do? It's like, I would want to go and do that thing. I don't want to be lazy right now. Or I wouldn't eat this thing right now because I can and I'm all right, but I wouldn't do it because why am I eating this? Am I really hungry right now? Or am I feeling some other emotion that I just need to keep eating? Oh, and I notice I'm feeling another emotion and I just feel like I need to keep eating right now. I'm like, okay, stop. I got to stop. But those little things, those little mental awarenesses, those just come with knowing, just being aware. If you're not aware, then you can't make these little steps. Then you are just going to eat just because you want to feel this other thing that you don't understand. You'll do it mindlessly and you'll do it numbingly. So it'll keep happening. You'll get those same endorphin rushes. But this happens to sabotage yourself in every other aspect of life if you're not aware of it. So a lot of this is just making you guys aware. And then it's giving you tools to use on the other side of all of that. Yeah. Being human. I'm sure, Donna. Absolutely. Yeah. We are absolutely all human. And that's because of that. We are going to be flawed. We're all going to
have human experiences.
That's totally okay.
Not a bad thing.
No, not at all. That's what makes every one of us unique. Right? Like a snowflake.
I wanted to say something, but then you kept talking. And I forget what I was going to say.
That's why I have a little notepad here, because sometimes I'll forget when you're talking. I'm like, let me just write that down. Who knows what I'm going to end up. So we got some good lessons from running, but we're all running towards something.
What it was. Yes. And that's the thing is, when you make that decision, you're no longer acting from who you are now. You're acting from who you can be. So it's really calling in that future self and asking, what would they do right now? What would serve them the most in this situation?
Yeah.
And what action could I take to get me even closer to them, to help me embody them more? And it sounds easy, but so many people overlook this step because it feels a little esoteric. It's like, okay, well, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. But this is what you get to do. You get to start consoling your future self. But then you have to trust yourself enough to take action from that space, because taking action from where you currently are is going to get you more of what you currently have.
Mm-hmm.
And pushing those limits is going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be so freaking uncomfortable. And that's why we have that image of our future self, or that image of us on the other side of that hardship, or community to support us. But we have to let ourselves be supported. We have to let ourselves open up to the possibility of what can be, and feel that. Letting ourselves feel that, so that we can start, because when we knock down this redwood, it's going to leave a big gap in our mind and in our body and our entire energy system. So we have to fill that up with something. And if we're not consciously filling it with something, then we're unconsciously filling it with something. And chances are it's probably not what you want. So we have to be intentional about how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about our goals, what we think about ourselves, what we think about our goals, what we think about is possible for us, and surrounding ourselves with people that not only think similarly, but believe in us even when we have yet to do that. And that is what we call it amplifies energy. And when energy is amplified, it creates a ripple effect. And that's when you start seeing this person successful, and then this person in their circle is successful, and this person in the circle is successful. And this is why when you join a group program, more of like a group program where you have maybe a little more intimate a space, like less than 50 or 100 people, but these people, they make genuine connections. And then you start to resonate with people at a certain frequency, and you notice your similarities. And it's like you all start achieving similar amounts of success, because you're all creating that ripple effect together. And if you want to rise, you're going to call in new people into your space, but we have to always be aware of the people that we're surrounding ourselves with, the conversations that we're having, the places that we're dwelling in, online and in person. And most importantly, the relationship with ourselves, and how we're allowing ourselves to navigate that relationship with ourselves. And are we beating ourselves up, or are we being compassionate with ourselves? Right. And just being aware of that, becoming you in the present moment. Yeah. Bringing your future self into the present moment and embodying that, because it's you who you are becoming. And I would argue that it's becoming more of you, more of your authentic self, because that future self doesn't have the same limiting beliefs that are keeping you from being your authentic self now.
Right.
They've gotten past those.
Yeah.
So it's really just sitting there for just a few minutes and just being like, what would my future self do right now? What would the version of me and his or her most authentic expression do right now, who believed in themselves the most right now? Because the true you is the you that has nothing but good things to believe about you, that feels nothing but positively about you, that believes in you to the end of the earth. Anything else is not the true you. It's a mask that you've been wearing as protection that someone else gave you.
Yeah, let that sink in. But that's deep.
Yeah.
But it's true. It's a mask that someone else gave you,
and
that you're wearing
take it off,
in that moment. You can take
but
it
there
off.
might be residue on your face.
Sure.
You might have to clean your face.
Sure.
And that's okay.
Yeah. But at least if you know your future self, what would they do? What would that higher vibrating me do in that future? That's just helps you. Like, okay, I would get off the couch and I would go run, or I would put down this thing to eat, or I would call that person that I've been putting off calling, or I'm going to do that thing for my business that for whatever reason I've been putting off doing that. The future me that lives in that is in alignment with my goals, that is in alignment with everything that I'm talking about, would have no problem doing it. In fact, they would get excited to do that thing. So surround yourself with other people that help you resonate with that future self, that you're excited to do all of those different things, because you're going to have not great days.
Mm-hmm.
And on your great days, it's easy to get excited about those things, but it's in those down moments that you really want someone to help you out. At least it's an easy trick, when we're running, of course, yeah, you weren't feeling good, but I'm going to be that person. I'm going to pick you up in as many ways as possible, even though sometimes it's annoying, right? Sometimes we have that friend that's saying these nice things to us and that we're like, stop it. We just stop saying that. I don't want to hear that. And so really what you're saying is that you want to dwell in that negativity right now, right? I mean, that's exactly what you're saying, because your future self wouldn't be doing that. Your future self would be like, oh yeah, I guess you're right. Right. But you hear yourself saying, no, I don't want that. You feel that resistance, like a cat with the claws just dragging as you're pulling it by its tail. And you're like, I don't want that thing. But you don't have to be like that. You just have to realize, first and foremost, what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Be aware of how your body is feeling. Be aware of the emotions that you're feeling in that moment. Maybe you've got something else. Maybe you feel some tightness in certain places. Be aware of those, so that you can take some action from that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can receive things from other people around you.
And be aware that that's not your true state.
It's not your true state.
And then you have to make a decision of, do you want to stay there or do you want to shift out of it? You can give yourself permission that it's okay to be there, but you don't have to live there. You don't have to stay there. Once you're aware of it, now it's a choice that you're staying there. It's no longer, it's just like, oh, this is a reaction. It's now a choice. So you then have to decide, how do I want my next moment to be?
Mm-hmm.
And then the moment after that, and the moment after that, knowing that there's going to be other reactions that pop up, responses, internal responses that happen. And when they do, you'll deal with those when they come up. But in this moment right now, I have a choice. So what will I choose?
That's the thing, is you
the
can
future
choose
me or the past me.
You can choose all of those things. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.
Yeah.
Whether you think you're going to succeed or not in something, you're correct.
Yeah.
So let's choose that you're going to succeed and
decide that.
Yeah.
Like really decide with an unwavering decision. Like, my success is inevitable. And notice what pops up that tells you it's not, right? All of those are just little limiting beliefs that get to be removed. And you remove them by, actually, I think we should do another video with that. We'll do like an exercise next week of actually removing some beliefs. So this week, if you watch this video before next Monday, my success is inevitable in anything, with business, with your body, with relationships. Think of that. And then make a list of everything that's coming up that tells you, no, it's not. It's not true. And then we're going to do a fun, quick energy release next week with that.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that would be good.
I think that's fun. I think that's fine. Yeah. So a lot of what we're doing, if you have never tuned into us before, it's number one, self-awareness. So you're having a vocabulary. You're just trying to understand what's going on around you, inside your body, inside your mind. Understand what's going on in other people's bodies and mind, because we're always interacting with people in many different ways. But then once you're there, you're like, oh man, sometimes it gets a little worse once you realize what it is, because now you can see it, you can feel it the whole time. So the next question is, what do I do about it? So then that question should be, how many ways can I do something about this? Right? Change the question, you change the result. Not can I or can't I do something? How many ways can I do something about it? But for me, the word of the year is who. So it's who many ways can we do something about this? Who many ways can help me get through this?
Who can I learn from?
So
who can I delegate to?
Who? Right now, it's us, though.
Yeah.
Right now, we're loving giving you guys stuff all the time. So mark your calendars for 1 week from now, 7 p.m. Eastern time, Monday.
Yeah. And also, just one final thing is, make a decision this week and act from that decision, and know that as you act from that decision, you are building energy in the space of that decision. And as you create more of an energetic resonance with this new decision, you're pulling away from the old you, from those old beliefs, those old neural connections, and you're creating new ones. And the more that you act from that space, the less foreign it feels, the less scary it feels, and the more familiar it feels to your body. And then you start experiencing synchronicities. And you start experiencing things where you're in the right place at the right time. You're having the right conversation with the right person, or things start feeling really easy. Your body starts feeling more at ease. So just do that this week. Make a note of how your success is inevitable and just see what comes up around that not being possible. And I'm going to guide you through an energetic release exercise that I've guided some of my clients through to clear out some of the energy of the limiting beliefs without outthinking them. You cannot outthink limiting beliefs because the energy lives in the body.
Good, because I love outthinking.
You do
them.
love it. You love trying to overthink everything.
So one of the things we're asking is for next week, we want them to make a list of.
Yeah, I just said it.
Oh, okay.
We don't need to type it in.
I'm just trying to make it nice for people. Come on, guys. I'm trying to help everyone out here. All right. That's all. Trying to help you all out in every way possible, because we love you guys, and we just love
Zach's
putting
a visual
happiness
learner,
into
so
the
he
world.
loves this little banner at the
Why not?
bottom.
I think it helps a lot, right? Give me a little thumbs up if the little banners are a little fun and helpful or something like that. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Heck yeah. Right. These are the people we love. Thank you, Rihanna. Absolutely. Yeah. It definitely helps. Here, I'll put that on here. I'm not
arguing that it doesn't help, babe.
No, that's great. I'm glad.
But we're over an hour, so want to respect your guys' time. We'll be here again next Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. We hope that you join us live. It's fun to engage with you guys in the comments.
Absolutely.
And you're more likely to do an exercise live than you are if you're watching the replay.
I know I am.
You might as well just join us.
Yeah. And so start your week out well with us every Monday, and just set yourself up for a great week that just leads into a wonderful weekend with everyone you love.
Yeah.
So thank you everyone for showing up. Thank you everyone that's watching now, watching later. However we can help you all in the world, we are always game.
Yeah. Any comments
Please
or questions,
reach out
don't hesitate to message either of us.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let you all know that she has a course to get your best body yet. So it's all about that self-image of the body and how that manifests in the body, and how to clear those things and be happy with all of that you are.
Yeah, I do. The course went live today. So module 1 is live. It's a self-paced course. It's called Best Body Yet. It's using science, mindset, and energy to energetically align with your best body yet, with food freedom, and feeling very confident, and using that confidence to become magnetic to your desires, because everything in our reality begins and ends with us. So this course, it's self-paced. So it's 6 weeks of self-paced material. However, there is an option for Q&A calls throughout the course. So that would be the only live component of it. And module 1 and the bonuses are live as soon as you sign up. They'll be sent to your email. And if it's something that you're interested in, then I will come back into the comment section on Facebook and post a link, and you can check out the link there. And if you would like an extended payment plan, you can message me separately and we can get that set up. Don't let money be a reason why you hold yourself back from becoming a better version of yourself. I have always taken advantage of, I'm not telling anyone to go into debt, but I've always taken advantage of credit cards if there's something that I really, really resonate with. Or payment plans. Like, that's why we have them.
Heck yeah. Yeah. And as I'm teaching people how to find properties, over 100 ways of finding properties as well, I get excited about these things, but then I always battle wanting to give people everything and wanting to give people lots of my time, because I know the more time that they have with me, the more successful. So the same with you. Yet at the same time, people are saying, am I worth paying this amount of money for this type of result? So people are having this battle of, do I pay this or not for something? And so we try to show up in many different ways, and in a DIY type of way, in a way that you can do it yourself with things, as well as some live support. So just giving options for people, because who the heck doesn't like options? And just trying to reach everyone however best you can be reached to truly affect you and get a change. That's why we do those things. It's not
Yeah.
It's not
And
for
this
us
course
at the end of the day.
is I suffered with disordered eating and really, really bad body image, very low self-esteem, and multiple chronic illnesses for years. And for about 8 years, I had an eating disorder and I single-handedly got myself out of it. And so it took me after I learned about emotional healing and energy work, it took me about 1.5 years to apply everything on myself and completely rid myself of food addiction, binging, purging. And also I healed depression, anxiety, ADHD. I lost 30 pounds in just a couple of months, not working out any extra. I worked out less. I ate whatever I wanted, and I healed myself of really, really bad allergies. I got off all of my medications that I was on for asthma and eczema.
Wow.
And I did all of this through just self-guided. I just guided myself through using emotional healing techniques and energy work and learning to trust my body and connect to my intuition. And that's what I teach you guys in this course, because I know what it's like to eat something and feel so anxious that you're about to go into a panic attack. And I'm not saying yours is that bad, but mine was. And that was just with eating anything. It got to the point where anything I ate, I felt that way. But now ask him, like, I never count calories. I don't even look at the label. I make jokes all the time of like, even this morning I ate chocolate for breakfast. I'm like, if I eat it now, calories don't count. And like, I'll make jokes about that. But
She did say that.
I trust my body so much. Yeah. And that's what I want people to understand. Like, everything begins and ends with you, because when you feel better, you make better decisions. Yeah. And therefore reality responds to you in a different way.
And I can only imagine eating something. Well, I mean, I can imagine because I have felt this way, but eating something, feeling that anxiety around it, and then now you're feeling worse.
Yeah, you're shaming, you guilt yourself.
And I imagine I might eat more, but even if I don't, I almost feel like my body is going to put it exactly where I don't want it to go. Like, do you ever feel that? Like when you eat that?
Belief, actually.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, right? Okay, so we need to work on that.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, even today, I thought I was going to do certain steps in my business to get things ready because we're leaving for vacation tomorrow. But in my head, I'm like, I've got these certain things that I need to do for my energy. So I wanted to clear those up. So I did do those. And so I'll tell you guys, doing some of these exercises, they're so liberating. They're so freeing. Oh my gosh, it just pulls a light, like a weight off of everything.
Because if you're constantly taking action, but you're not addressing the energy, it's going to feel like a struggle, and you're going to come up against roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. But if you're only focusing on your energy and your mindset, and you're not taking the appropriate action, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, you'll feel good, but things are going to move really, really slow. So that's why this is why my work is so unique, and the work that I'm doing inside of this course, Best Body Yet, is so unique, is because it bridges that gap between the energetic alignment and the practical action, so that you have a recipe specifically for you that you can start applying to create more ease and flow and results in your life with whatever it is that you want to apply it to. Because what I teach can be applied to your body, to your relationships, or to your bank account.
Right on.
Yeah. Have a great week. Yeah.
All right.
Yes. Okay. So we are done. Thank you all. I know we went a little over an hour. So hope to see you next week. Same time, same place. And until then.
Yeah. Bring your lists, bring your thoughts, bring your questions, bring yourself, bring your friends, right? Show it, share it with everything.
Oh, yeah. We're on
so that
Facebook.
you do have that support, right? Because you want other people around, because they're going to support you. That's one of the things we've talked about. So bring other people along, and let's help everyone that you know in your life. We'd love that. So awesome. Have a great week, you guys.
Bye.
Take care and
Good
see you soon.
night.
Bye.